Welcome to the Hudson Valley Disc Golf Podcast. This week we've got Corey, Evan, Jacob Dunbar, and Tim Goyette joins us for the first time. Jamin's having some computer issues and should be here soon. Jason's at a town board meeting and may or may not be here at some point. And Randy is currently putting and may or may not be here at some point as well. That's a lot. We've got our big topics tonight, and what most everybody's here to talk about is New York Team Challenge. But before we get there, there's just a few other things I want to go over, starting with the 9-pin Cider Indoor Disc Golf Putting League Winter Season 3, Week 6, December 10th. That's a big mouthful there, Mark Bryan. He posted they had 69 nice players this week. A bit rainy, but that didn't deter some of our top scorers to position themselves on top of the leaderboard heading into the final week of the 2024 winter season. Looks like in the non-paying league, Matt Knopf and Brandon Klein had 15 points, and Mark Bryan won it with 16 points, but he apparently, as the guy who runs the league, he can't accept a free flight, and that went to Brandon. In the paid league, so Ryan Jeske, Devin Lamke, and Derek Stasinski, those three had 18 points. 4 players had 19 points, including lefty Michael Nassau Warner. I don't say that name as much. I say Highland Mike Warner a lot. Kyle Moore, Jay O'Leary, and Adam Nelson. But your winner took home $40, scored 21 points, and looks like it might be the best 5-week leader, correspondent Joe Karen.
Dude, just be caring about making them putts.
Also, congratulations to Adam Nelson on the solo ace and big score, taking home a fat stack of cash. Looks like he got $48 for the ace pop. Our final week of the season is next Monday, December 16th. We will have a variety of prizes for both pro and free divisions. Prizes will include 9-pin branded merchandise and maybe some extra surprise goodies. Hope to see you all next week for the thrilling finale. The other putting league, it looks like Northway Brewing Putting League is on their second week, but I haven't seen any results. Am I missing something, or are they just not been posted?
Probably in the Glens Falls, Disc Golf.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I checked there.
Yeah, I don't know that results really do get posted. I've been there the last 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure Kate Clay took the women's division down both weeks. This last week, I want to say Jamin got it. And week 1, I think, was Jay O'Leary.
I could have sworn I saw results somewhere. Maybe Greg posted them on... Oh, he's posted them on his personal page.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, week 1, this is... he posted on December 5th. Week 1, there was 116 people. Caitlin Clay came in first. Amber Stout in second. Men was... You said Jay O'Leary? Is that what that is? J-O?
Yeah.
He came in first, and then Dean Ronaldo and Cody Conine came in tied for second, and Granger took first in juniors. Week 2, 123 people. This time, J Park Wrench's own Alexis White took first for the ladies. Amber Stout and Caitlin Clay came in tied for second. And the men's, Jamin took first. Joe Karen and Tyler Calzada came in second. And Granger also took first. And juniors.
So you play that regularly, Jacob?
Yeah, when I'm in town for it. It's a lot of fun. The first week, the course that Greg had set up was actually pretty tough. He dialed it back a little bit for the second week. A lot of the holes were kind of in their normal positions, so to say. The first week, he kind of went experimental with a few things. Shots were lined up differently rather than, usually they all kind of have like the same tee and sort of basket position, but there might be a new obstacle in the way or something like that. Yeah, it's been great so far, and it's a great time every week, so definitely worth getting up to if you're able to make it.
Awesome. I also saw, what is this program that you wrote for Lost Discs?
Yeah, so up until last week, anytime I send a text out about lost and found discs, I basically go through a process of manually copying and pasting a phone number to... There's a way you can like link an Android phone with Windows, so I could do it on my desktop at least. But basically copy and paste the phone number to this thing and then, the message and send it. And I would do that over and over for however many phone numbers I had, and it took maybe 20 minutes to half an hour every time I did it. So I finally got fed up with that and figured out a way that I could write a program, a free program specifically, so I didn't have to go through some paid, texting service or something like that, and it would still send from my personal phone. Yeah, basically figured out a way that I could just mass, import a list of all of the phone numbers of, found discs that we still have and send just a text blast out to everybody and let them know that, an upcoming opportunity to come get their discs, which has been really nice. I've only used it once so far. We just had our last pickup day last Wednesday, at least for this year. And we'll start up again, probably again at Putting League come January. But
I wish it was that easy.
yeah,
Like having a come get your disc day, I wish it would work. I have so many discs.
Putting League's great because like most people are there already, or a lot of the people are. Lately, I've been shipping discs out too. I'm just trying like anything to get them back to people's hands, but it's kind of hard sometimes. It's surprising the number of people who just seem like they don't want to bother to come pick it up and
Yeah.
don't let me, know that they don't really care to pick it up. So
My favorite is when I get a disc, I send a text to the person. They're like, all right, I'll let you know. Or like they live in Albany and like, I don't know when I'm going to come down that way, as if 20 minutes is that far. And then later on, I find another one of their discs at the park or like at the Lost and Found box. So they clearly came again. But as soon as I mentioned that, like, oh yeah, for $7, I'll ship it back to you. Half the time they're like, all right, yeah, I'll do that then.
yeah, shipping it's good at getting discs back, but it's still, time consuming when you have so many discs. But last Wednesday we did actually get like 20 some returned.
Nice.
Which was like probably the best in like a single kind of pickup, type thing that we've done. So we also occasionally drop them off there's a local store that has like a rack of discs and stuff, Fountain Square Outfitters in Glens Falls. And we'll sometimes bring a few, if somebody knows they won't be able to make up Wednesdays for the pickup thing or whatever it is, or they work weird hours. So they work all, throughout the entire weekend or something. We'll drop them off there and then, it's kind of, you can pick it up during business hours. So I've actually talked to them. Next year, I might start doing a system where I put maybe 10 to 20 discs there at that store for a week, let everybody know that they're there. And then if they're not picked up by the end of the week, then I just kind of pull it. I think at that point, people just haven't put the effort in to come get them. So, I'll donate them or give them to newer players or whatever. Because it's starting to get a critical mass of discs. There's so many in my garage right now.
Yeah, when I can't physically lift the bin of discs, that's when there's too many discs. Pat, did you see the talk about the other putting league that's going to start next year?
What's that?
Mark Oxborough, the captain of Chatham, at least has been advertising it. I'm not sure if he's the one running it, but yeah, starting January 7th on Tuesdays, they're doing a putting league at what the hell is it? The Melvin Rhodes American Legion in Rensselaer, but a little bit different where it's like random doubles putting league. He's called like a horseshoe style. The only horseshoe style team competitive putting league in the area.
Okay, now we did something like that at Beacon. It wasn't a league or anything, but we put in a practice basket and then probably Maori. Somebody had the idea to put in a second one. And what we would do is we'd have teams, and this may be similar, I'm not sure, but we'd have 2-on-2. And Corey, if me and you were partners, I'd be at one basket, you'd be at the other. The rules changed randomly and progressed, but basically it was like I would throw my approach to the basket. They're about 100 feet apart, give or take. And I would throw 2 discs. Actually, there was a point where if I made it in, we win. The other team would get a chance to throw, but if they didn't make it in, they would lose and you just start over again. But I throw my 2, and then you have to take my 2 putters and make them. If you do, you get a point. And I think you get a bonus point for metal hits. Like if I hit metal and it bounced away, you get a point or something. And then if you made that putt off the ricochet, that would be another point. Very similar to horseshoes. That's what made me think about it. It was a pretty fun game because the way the grass, it was like a very gentle incline. So one of you was putting down, the other one's putting up. So it was always interesting. But I don't know if that's what you're describing.
Yeah, and I kind of figured it was like more maybe like cornhole. I have no idea, but I was thinking more like cornhole, where like you both stand on each side, and then because I think there was another post actually that had more information on it. It's like a race to 21.
What made this style interesting was you had to decide because you had 2 putters. So was it one of yours, one of mine, 2 of yours, 2 of mine?
Here's the rules. So horseshoe style, random draw partners, double elimination bracket. Stations are 2 baskets 30 feet apart. Each station has 2 teams of 2 players playing against each other to 21. Each player has 2 putts per side. If you don't make any, you get no points. If you make 1, you get 1 point. If you make 2, you get 3 points. So a bonus point for getting both of them. Game ends right when the team gets 21 points. There are no last ups. $6 buy-in, $4 for payouts, $1 for season payouts, and $1 goes to the Legion.
Oh, interesting. Cool. So it's a little closer, so makes sense.
I think this is every Tuesday, or most of them, between January 7th and March 4th, checking in at 6 p.m.
And where was that?
At the Melvins Road American Legion, post 1231 in Rensselaer.
Randy, did you have any disc golf this past weekend?
So this weekend I had it was Mind Kills Bye Month. So I got out early on that frigid morning and snuck out to Saratoga versus Chatham with my camera and wandered around and snapped photos of people. Learned a lot. This is only like my second time bringing my camera out to an event. And with the weird winter sunlight and temperatures and everything, I think my first 30 pictures were absolute blurry garbage and was messing around with settings and stuff. So sorry to anyone that saw me out there taking their picture and then didn't see their picture posted later that day, because took a lot of bad photos until I figured out what I was doing. And the cold eats your batteries, it turns out.
That makes
So I sat down, I had this spot I'd picked out on hole 2 that had good sun and a good angle on the people throwing. And I get in my spot and I go to take a picture and it's just battery empty. And I feel bad. Those people probably saw me sitting there and I'm just futzing around trying to find my second battery to throw in there.
You gave him camera jitters for a dud photo?
Yeah, exactly. For no reason at all. I don't know. It was a really good time. I realized it's much easier to take pictures of people you know. So I followed the Tyler Tucker, Andrew Dorrell, and Troy Vasari card around a little bit more than other people because I didn't feel as invasive on them. So I got some sweet photos of them. And there's a link to that posted on the New York Team Challenge page. I think 50-something pictures up. But it was really fun. And I'm still learning how to take pictures of people moving quickly. So, yeah.
Which is kind of crazy coming from a guy that takes photos of hummingbirds and
it's really different, surprisingly. It's weird. So people are coming forward on the tee pad. So they get out of focus by taking a few steps forward. I was messing with different settings to get it locked in, and I did not have it locked in for a while. And then winter sunlight is kind of dim. So trying to figure that out too, to have the exposure right. Took a little while, but I got some good ones.
Yeah, and I would imagine hummingbirds, their wings are flapping really fast, but a lot of times they're just kind of hovering, right?
Yeah, you just wait for them to kind of stop, and then hopefully the only thing that's blurry is their wings, which you would expect. So yeah, it's very different. I use very different settings for birds and bugs and things.
Jamin, I thought you were signed up for double basket doubles. Did you not play this weekend?
No, Jason was.
So you never were?
No.
Okay.
I almost did. Actually, Craig Cutler got a hold of me, I think, Thursday morning. I was like, hey, looking for a partner? Want to go play this? I was like, oh, man, that sounds great. But it just didn't work out.
I think I just assumed since you had the weekend off, I mean, from New York Team Challenge, not anything else. I think I saw Corey and Jason. I think I just assumed your name would be in there.
Yeah, nope, not this one. I was close, but couldn't make it work.
Did you do any disc golf this past weekend?
None. I got a little bit of a stair project started at Jenkinsville, but no actual disc golfing.
I was going to say, so what you do, probably work on a course? And of course, you've worked on a course.
I got a new tool, so I've been messing around with it, doing any rebar-centric things I can find.
All right. So then I'd be surprised if Jason comes on at this point because he'll usually want to be off around 9 anyway. So I figure we could talk about double basket doubles, and we'll hear from Corey since he bailed on his New York Team Challenge teammate.
So did his partner.
Overconfident. That should have been their team name, Overconfident Bastards. All right, so Adam Gutman posted for double basket doubles. Thank you to the 52 people who braved the cold today for FDR December double basket doubles. A brisk morning turned into a beautiful day at FDR. Congrats to all the winners. Looks like they had A pool, C pool, and a Century division. For some reason, Disc Golf Scene kept the names up, so I copied them real quick in case they got deleted anytime soon. So I'm just going to zip through some of these team names. In the C pool, I'm just going to read them all, and you guys tell me if there's one that pops out that you kind of like. The Two Putt Chumps, Brett McHeimer, Griffin's Silky Ponytail, James and the Giant, Lamb Fam, The Nasty Nomads, Par Flies, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Team Neat, Up and Down Country, and You're Nasty. Any winners in that one?
I like par flies.
I was going to say the same
as
thing.
in, like bar flies. As a former bartender, that one spoke to me.
I just like the phrase par flies. Oh, sounds good.
All right. A pool, we got a little bit of disc, a little bit of that. Disc in a box. Don't Trust the Crust. Horrible team name. Putt Stuff. Stroke of Luck. The 3 Fs. They're Eating the Dogs.
Yeah, I like that one.
And Upstate Auto and Dam Repair. Now, that's a combo right there.
Yeah, that one I want to know more about.
Is that Jason and Harry?
I thought it was Beaver Dam related.
That would be like the scandal of the century, is that Jason's actually the one putting beaver dams at J Park.
Guess we got to move that basket.
The Century Division, you got Touch of Grey, Team Gutman, that's Adam and Paul Gutman, Team Dilicious Discs, Crud, CRUD, that's Dave Coates and Skip. It's all caps, so I don't know if it's an acronym or if they just think they're not very good, so they call themselves Crud. Car Ramrod, Bowerful Stuff, and Badly Garbled. That's Jack Bradley and John Garb. Badly Garbled.
I mean, Ramrod makes me laugh every time.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that? Jason Matz and Steve Dodona?
No, just the movie reference.
Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Troopers, Large Farva.
That was actually filmed not far from here.
Oh, really?
Yep.
The bar scene was down the road, the Golden Rail. And then there was a mixed male and female, the Lucky Llamas, Cynthia and Tim Jackman. Does anybody have a favorite team name from what we heard?
They're eating the dogs.
It is
Heart
DAWGS, eating the
Oh.
dogs.
I like Don't Trust the Crust, and I kind of hate that I like it.
It flows well, doesn't it?
It's good. Even if you have no idea what it's about, it like makes you wonder.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
don't
good
know.
one.
Or what is this crust I'm not supposed to be trusting? I want to know more.
It's even better that our team brought Uncrustables to play CPS, and Kyle wasn't even there.
All right, so results for the double basket doubles in the Century Division. There was a tie for second between Badly Garbled, that's Jack Bradley and John Garb, and Team Gutman, Paul and Adam Gutman. I don't think this was on the PDGA page. This is just,
No.
I'm going off of Adam Gutman's post on the wedge page, and there's no actual scores. So when we get to A pool, Corey, if you remember any of the scores.
Yeah.
And the winner in the Century Division, Bowerful Stuff, that's Eric Bowers and Dan McGuire. The C pool paid out 5 positions. Brett McHeimer, Brett McHugh, and Fred Gegenheimer came in 5th. Lamb Fan, that's Jeremy Lambert and Michael Lambert, came in 4th. The Red Hot Chili Peppers, that's Ishmael Valencia and Paul 2, came in 3rd place. James and the Giant, that's James Green and Josh Winkler, came in 2nd place. And your winners were the Two Putt Chumps, James Busser and Michael Gonzalez. That's your C pool winners. And then the A pool, how'd that go, Corey?
It was fun. I think the temperature on the drive down there was like 15 degrees. So definitely put on extra layers, brought extra, bigger gloves, brought a balaclava because if it was windy, that should just cut straight through your face. What actually pissed me off was in the morning, I was planning on doing my typical Stewart's run, and I drive through on a Saturday at like 5:45 because me and Kyle were meeting at the freeway at 6, and the shit was closed. I was baffled. I didn't know that was even possible. So didn't have any breakfast or any coffee or not an energy drink or nothing before we started. And I had my lunch peanut butter and jelly while we were playing our first round.
Have you played double basket doubles at FDR before?
I've never played double basket doubles format before.
In anything?
Yeah.
What was round 1? I know in the past they did just yellow, I think.
It was yellow fronts, white back.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been to FDR, I think, since Fools Fest. And some things I noticed that have been done over that time is hole 8, like the line to the white basket, the long basket, like the trees on the left had gotten cleared out. I don't know how many of them, but it was like noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before I used to just like throw as hard as I could straight and hope to get through the trees. And with the tee pad work they're doing on 9, they put the temp pad in front of the gap you're trying to get through, which I think kind of messes with people's like depth perception because you're used to throwing out that gap and getting to the hill or on top of the hill. And the tee pad was just before the hill. So can't see the basket, well, for the long basket at least. You can't see the basket, and you're used to just throwing this little chip shot kind of to the basket, and it wasn't really a chip shot from what the tee pad is. So
That short 9 tee pad, that's a temporary thing? They're working on a tee pad? Is that what you were saying?
just based on what I saw, I mean, there was like crushed stone and stuff, and it looked like they were just like redoing the tee pad. I don't know. I guess I don't really know the backstory. I assumed that they were just doing tee pad work on the original one.
So you didn't use that all day?
Nope.
Okay. So I didn't know if they were trying to incorporate it or, like you say, if it might just be a temporary thing while they're working on the other one.
Oh, shit. And hole 4, I almost forgot all about hole 4. They moved the tee pad for hole 4.
Like noticeably?
Oh yeah, like before, like when you're playing 3, like to the long basket, I guess more of a thing. But like the tee pad was like pin high. Now it's like more like pin high with the white basket. Not quite, but it's definitely pushed back and more to the left. If you're looking from hole 3's tee pad, like you can't really get to the tee pad now.
I always thought it was like almost closer to yellow.
Yeah, I would say so.
But it's farther back now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
And hole 18 was in the long, the white pin was in the short position, which kind of confused me when we were first playing it. But yeah, round 1 we played with Silvio Sanchez and Kyle Young. They're eating
the dogs.
So that was cool. I feel like I've been playing with a lot of lefties lately. Like I think every team challenge match I played for disc captain so far, I've been on like a double freaking lefty card for singles match play. And I've never played with either of them before.
Those guys are both on Team Wedge, right, Jamin?
Yep. So it was interesting playing with those guys. Silvio, super smooth. I see how he plays so well. But yeah, it was cold. It was so cold round 1. And myself and Kyle, at least, we were struggling. We were kind of messing up the short musket holes, and we were kind of just having like flashbacks from the Turkey Throwdown at Central Park, where we kind of like trolled the first round and then popped off the second round, like come back. So we were kind of hoping the same thing was going to happen. We kind of figured that round 2 had a bigger importance with the double basket format. So we were a little bummed shooting a 52, which was, I think, 4 off the lead. That was Kyle Young and Silvio Sanchez. Shot a 48. Like, our first round was pretty quick, and we weren't sure how long it was, like, the lunch break was going to be. So the second round, knowing that they were trying to hurry it along so we had enough daylight. So we had a short lunch break. Harry and Jason got back a little after us. They were actually 1 stroke ahead of us after round 1. They shot a 51, but Harry's really into making, I think they're espressos. So he has this little like camp grill setup that he brings with him all over the place, and all of his coffee kit. And he made Kyle a hot chocolate and me, Jason and himself, an espresso to go into round 2 with. Yes, and the double basket doubles format, like that's what I was really excited to play, because it kind of adds a little strategy play to the game of disc golf, and it kind of feels like you're scrambling a lot, which I not a lot in the sense of like from the rough, but so the format is every hole you basically switch tee shots with your partner, and then from there you both have to finish out the white and yellow basket and then sum up your scores. So if we're playing hole 1 at FDR, Kyle's going to try to go for the long tee pad or the long basket. I'm going to try to go for the short one, and then he finishes out the hole from my drive, and I finish out the hole from his.
See, that's a difference, I think, between A pool and me. I probably would have played like C pool or B pool if I played with a really good player. I would think we both would go for yellow, and whoever got closest, go for the birdie, and the other one just lay up and par white.
Yeah, I think the strategy definitely changed in a couple holes, but like by default, what our thought was Kyle go for the long basket, because there's a good chance that maybe he hits a tree and then like gets close to the yellow basket anyways.
That's a good point.
Which that's what we tried to do on hole 5, the downhill hole, but Kyle's drive didn't even get to the yellow basket. So I also tried to go to the yellow basket, and I kind of fucked it up too. But that was one of the holes that were like, oh, maybe I'll go for the yellow basket too.
Just to clarify though, I'm just saying about hole 1. The great thing about it is each one is different. Hole 5 is a perfect example. Based on who your partner's tee shot, you might throw your strategy right out the window.
Yeah.
Then you have to make it up as you're going on some of those holes, and each one would be different because of the way the hole's laid out. So that's what makes it fun. Infuriating, but fun.
Yeah. I was struggling with like throwing forehands all day. So and there's certain shots at FDR that like forehand is just the play to go. And I had some other bad shots. Luckily, Kyle, like throughout the day, was putting really well. And when we got to double basket doubles, or the second round, I mean, there was probably 20% of the holes I didn't have to putt. He just absolutely parked the long basket. And then I would try to park the yellow basket, and usually didn't happen. But luckily, Kyle was able to drain, a lot of putts inside 40 feet. So, yeah, going into round 2, we were 4 strokes behind Silvio and Kyle Young. And then Josiah Zudzma and Phil Raskinator, Thomas Rascona's brother to the south, they threw a 106, which means absolutely nothing because disc golfers aren't used to thinking of scores as that high.
There's some par 9s out there.
Yeah, they were 1 stroke behind Kyle Young and Silvio Sanchez, and then shot 5 strokes better than them in round 2. Myself and Kyle shot a 109, which was 3 strokes off the pace. So Josiah and Phil, the lead, and Silvio Sanchez and Kyle Young were 111. Josiah and Phil won with a 155. Kyle Young and Silvio Sanchez came in second with 159. Myself and Kyle Hirsch came in third with a 161, and then right behind us was Jason Lasasso and Harry Lehman with a 162.
Upstate Auto and Dam Repair. So I got 2 questions for you, Corey. One, did you leave there with any of Kyle's discs in your bag?
Nope.
Did you guys leave any discs on the course?
That's to be determined. We got to hole, I don't know, like 4 or 5 holes into our first round, maybe. No, actually, it might have been the second hole. I take that back. And I didn't have my Firebird. And I have no idea if I left it in the field warming up or if I never had it and instead I lost it at Wilcox or something the previous week.
Not one of the more common discs that you throw?
I throw it a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. I was kind of pissed.
That's the hard part about it is because you're taking my lie, especially if you're starting outside of the woods on hole 9, you both are going in completely opposite directions.
That is like the one hole that it really gets kind of screwy because, it's like there's no like accuracy and I'm near the other basket, you have to go take 2 distinct lines. I remember as we were getting towards the end of the second round, I was getting kind of bummed that there wasn't more holes to play like that. I wish it was 2 rounds of the double basket format or that there was more of that type of event like throughout the year, just because it was FDR is like perfect for it. And it's really fun trying to like think your way through the round.
I think the problem with that is this time of year, that's just not practical, right? To get 2 rounds of that in a day. Jason, just joining us. We were just talking about double basket doubles as a member of Upstate Auto and Dam Repair. What were your thoughts?
Oh, it was great. I had a lot of fun. I love that format. Harry and I played again, and I played at least like 100 times better than I did last year. Harry played phenomenal last year. Not as great this year, but together I think we made way better decisions strategically. We just had trouble executing some of the shots, but the weather was pretty good. The course was in good shape. It's really hard to beat Phil and Josiah. They're like, I forget how many time champs they're now, 3 or 4. Yeah. So I just jumped on, so I missed Corey talking about it, but I'll listen to it Friday. I can't stay on too late. Just want to jump on and say hi. And
No, that's cool. He was kind of wrapping it up, but since you're here, I'll ask you the same question I asked Corey, because this is with this type of event, it's the most common thing. The end of the day, did you have any of Harry's discs in your bag?
I haven't checked. Every year so far, that's happened. So it would not surprise me if I have some of his or he has some of mine. I think last year I had like some of his go-to discs in my bag for a while.
Do you know if you're missing any discs?
I haven't checked because we were having a lot of fun, let's say that. So I gotta inventory my bag and see what's still in there. It was cool. Harry had his little coffee set up. That was fun. That was like key during lunch. Get recaffeinated. Pass the bottle of bourbon around.
Oh, yeah. I did have some of that. I did not. I forgot to mention that.
That's probably why you won, because Kyle, took a big swig of it.
Whoever we got. I was to say we got Kyle to do it. We didn't have to force him, but he did make a nice little face after taking a swig.
But it was fun. That whole playing that format makes me really want to do something like that up here at Minekill. So I don't know. I'd love to make that happen because there's only a few courses that could do it. Like we talked about that one time. So there's like Warwick, FDR. I would love to see something up in our area.
What about the week of the longest day of the year?
In June?
Yeah, like Corey was saying, it'd be great to do 2 rounds of it.
It is long for this time of year, but I don't think you have to have like a super long day to do if you want to do 2 rounds of it. Because overall, it's like you're pretty much playing like a normal round of golf with 4 people. You're using every shot. You're not really adding any time other than more decision making. But I think you could do it in like early summer or late fall and have enough time. Yeah, I don't know if I could do like 2 rounds in the winter, but
yeah, that's the other thing.
Minekill's really tough to do any events there outside of like late spring, early fall. So you have to like commit to having like a ice bowl style tournament where like the conditions are going to be rough, or just try to cram it in where all the other events are. Anything
notable about your round?
I had some good drives. I got Harry really close on some holes the second round. Like I went for hole 5 white and got him damn close to that where he could birdie it. And
That's impressive.
Yeah, what's the double basket one? 15?
15.
Yeah, I got him super close, and then I triple putted his. So we had a few holes that were like double birdies and a few holes that were double bogeys, but we didn't have any like double bogeys. That doesn't make any sense.
What was the biggest number you had to write on your card? Same question, Corey, if you can remember.
We never got to a 10. I made that comment.
I think we took a 10 on hole 10.
That's a common one. Any OBs?
2. Yeah, on the same hole. Harry threw OB on his drive, and then my upshot went OB.
That's funny. Yeah, hole 10, round 1, during regular doubles, me and Kyle both, like, boneheads, turned ours over OB off the drive. Oh, no. Wait. No, it was round 1, because then, yeah, never mind. Confusing.
Was there anything else on double basket doubles? Jason, was there anything in particular you wanted to talk about?
No, just figured I get my laptop open to make sure the details are right for the ice ball registration, and then jump on, say hi, and then I gotta go.
Cool.
It's been a cram night. I had a town board meeting tonight.
How'd that go? Anything pertinent?
Yeah, just like working through some stuff with the course and the town. Overall, I think tonight went really well. One of the councilmen at the end of the town board meeting said some positive stuff about the course, which was good, but still working through some other challenges that you face whenever you put a new course in. There's always just kind of like different. Not everybody's like a fan of it, so you gotta really highlight all the good stuff that the course brings. And fortunately, the town has been like overwhelmingly supportive. The town board, the non-for-profit, everybody's like fully behind the course. So I'm just trying to keep momentum going and make it so that everybody can enjoy the course.
Awesome. So we want to get to a New York team challenge. Do you want to hang for a bit, Jason, or you got to get going?
I'll bounce.
I'm not trying to get you, trying to kick you off or anything. I'm just.
We had a bye week, so that's a perfect time for me to get out. Looks like you got a full house tonight too, which is good.
Almost every match represented here.
What are you missing?
Well, nobody from Widowmakers and Beast of Bourbon. I didn't think to ask JP. And nobody from Chatham Hill Country Club, but Alex, because he couldn't make it tonight, gave me a very thorough rundown. So I'm going to play Alex tonight.
Nice. Is he going to be like Sean Connery or something?
No, I'll actually do it because this is like a chapter here.
Give him the RFK voice then.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Jason.
All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Later.
Take it easy. So we had 4 team challenge matches this weekend. The Wilcox Widowmakers at Beast of Burbine, Chatham Hill Country Club at the Saratoga Revolution, the J Park Wrenches at the North, CPS Rosebuds at the Tower of Power, and because we don't have anybody representing Wilcox at Burbine, Corey. Oh, we don't have Alex. He's usually posting the pictures.
Oh, yeah.
I have pictures, but they're not web-based. It's just the literal photos that I cropped. I don't think that'll work No, I just sent my name to you guys. Okay. But if you guys check the New York Team Challenge page, all these scores are posted. So, Corey, do you have that up?
Working on it.
No, take your time. I just kind of sprung it. I was just wondering if you wanted to give us a rundown on Burbine at Wilcox. While you're looking it up, I can tell you we had 7 people make picks for Wilcox at Burbine. Corey, Jamin, Evan, Alex, Jason, and Randy all picked the Widowmakers to beat the Beast of Burbine. Caitlin Clay picked the Beasts.
You want me to recap this match that I wasn't at?
That you just looked at 2 seconds ago? Absolutely.
So one thing I did see, at first I had no idea what the hell it was about, but I think Kristen McDonald posted a picture of a bunch of people that were obfuscated by smiley faces, so you couldn't actually tell like who was in the photo. It seems like, I'm just guessing based off of context clues, that a bunch of the Wilcox and Burbine people split an Airbnb maybe and like kind of hung out / partied the night before and possibly the night after their match. Not really sure. There's definitely some Wilcox people on the same photo. They were at Burbine, it seems like, and after round 1, Wilcox was up 12.5 to 4.5. I can't really make out too much on the board if there's any matches that jump out at me. Let's see, JP beat JT 3-2. Mike Thomas losing at home. That's kind of crazy. He lost 2 up. Yeah. Then
I heard something about this match that unfortunately I don't have the names or details, so I don't know what the outcome was. But basically 2 people went out, or rather 4 people went out and played the wrong opponent for singles.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah.
And like my input was like just scratch the matches or like push those matches, like just make them not count. But I don't know if there's like a better way to handle that.
Like they say in Fast and Furious, a chase is a race.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something about family. Jamin, any thoughts on that? What would you guys do if that happened? Has that ever happened?
That has never happened. I don't know what to do in that situation. I guess just like, well, I hope you guys had fun because it doesn't count for anything. That's something that a team could do advantageously. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that anybody would do that, but like that is something that if the result it doesn't count for anything, then it would benefit somebody.
So it's possible that JP, instead of playing JT, might have had to play AT? Is that what you're saying?
I can't imagine where the confusion came from. But yeah, no, I don't know. Usually for the disc captains, we send out paper scorecards, although we didn't last time and it was kind of annoying for the same thing. This was at Burbine, right? So there's probably, I don't know how bad the service is there, but if it was at Wilcox, it would have been worse. So yeah, I don't ever do that. What the hell?
So like Corey said, it was 12.5 to 4.5 Wilcox. What's the Burbine spread? Do they have heat? Do they have power?
They got nothing. I think usually Matt Gamache comes out with like a grill or I feel like when we were there last year, like his dad was actually manning it. But they'll have like a grill and like a generator and a few things. But usually there's a lot of adult beverages.
Yeah, this year when we visited, they had a grill. They did hot dogs. I think they cooked a few steaks and like cut those up into just little bite-sized pieces and were passing that around, which is really good. And then, yeah, I remember there was plenty of beverages and kind of cold salads and stuff like that. So I'm imagining it's something similar probably.
Yeah, they don't have much there to work with, fortunately.
All right. So what about dubs? So we know that there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like 8 matches. Does that mean Burbine has to win all 8 just to tie?
Burbine has to win 7 matches to win. Wait, there's a threesome in there, so actually that kind of complicates things.
Wouldn't they still have to win all of them then?
They had to win all of them, but the threesome.
But then the threesome would get the other team 3 points.
Yeah. So what? There's 8 matches and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know what I'm looking at anymore.
I'm confused now. I confused myself.
Isn't it just reverse? So like Burbine had 4.5 in the morning.
Needs 13
so
points.
Wilcox just has to score more than 4.5 to win.
Right. Wilcox gets 5 and they win.
Right.
So if they win the triples, they just need one other one.
Yeah, a triples and +1 or a 3.
Okay.
Or 3
regular.
dubs.
So yeah, that's what it is. Thank you. Sane, Randy. So they need 5 points, 6 if you're nasty. Anything stand out to anybody on the doubles matches?
Nah.
Okay. No need to spend all day on it. I just
Well, this is fun. So my friend Sean, who helps out at 9-Pin, it was his first team challenge match ever, filling in on Burbine, and he got thrown to the wolves both rounds. And he's just like, is this normal? Like just getting absolutely smoked by like the other team's best player. And I was like, no, sorry, like that happens. But I try not to do that to someone like 2 rounds in a row if I'm,
it's tough to see, but did he play Nick Terralavoro?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
7 and 6.
And then he played Nick and JP.
Exactly. It was like what a day to go to go play some disc golf.
Yeah, that's how you get somebody to not come back.
He will.
I know. Sean's great.
That's crazy. So it looks like Wilcox won 12.5 to 4.5 in round 1 and 12 to 5 in doubles for a combined score of 24.5 to 9.5. Wilcox. So Caitlin Clay takes a L in the picks. I'll go through Saratoga Stony Kill real quick because I have Alex's notes for Saratoga Stony Kill. Does anybody else have any insight on this match? Otherwise, I'll just read what Alex has.
Oh, I watched hole 2 get played by everyone in the first round, which is now an island because the tops got taken off the dead trees, and the whole like 30-foot circle was ice, and it was brutal watching people like slide out or then like perfectly park it by landing in like a frozen footprint. So that was really entertaining, but I have no idea how the rest of the holes went.
This was the Chatham Hill Country Club at Saratoga. Alex says it was very cold, but by the time we got there, there was a fire going already. Stayed warm while waiting for matchups. Thank goodness there was no wind because that would have been miserable. I did singles matchup solo as Mark Ox couldn't be there. Things went reasonably smoothly. Carly Calzada says not to judge the board. The markers or the board seemed to be freezing, so writing was difficult. First match went okay. I played with Kevin Nguyen, who won handily against Parker Cerrone. I played against Levi, who was wearing running shorts and a long sleeve shirt in sub 20 degree weather. I blame that for going down 3 points early. Clawed my way back to one back towards the end, but he put me away with a 60-foot putt to win 2-1. Ended up 9-9 after singles, so he felt pretty good about things. Spread was great, several excellent items including pulled pork, ribs, and burgers hot off the grill. Hot food was very welcome that day. Doubles matchups went all right. Volunteered myself and Sam to play against one of their top teams, Tyler Calzada and Parker Cerrone. Parker has a rocket of a putt, and after seeing him in round 1, I was counting on a few misses from him to keep Sam and I in it. Unfortunately for us, he fixed most of the issues and was nailing everything inside 60 feet, except for a handful of 15-footers that were easily cleaned up by Tyler. Revolution is a tough squad, and they know their course. With perfect hindsight, knowing exactly what everybody was going to shoot, I might have been able to put together a set of winning matchups, but basically everyone shot hot on their side. The overall points look bad, but there were a lot of close matches out there that just didn't fall our way. Just got to keep looking forward to next match, and maybe we can finally figure out a set of doubles teams that play up to their potential by the end of the year. Haha. So, like he said, it was 9-9 after one, but then Saratoga won doubles 14-4 for a total of 23-13, a 10-point win. But 49-50, 49-50, yeah, there's a couple close ones that could have gone either way, but, that's why you play the games. Looks like Evan, Corey, Caitlin, and Randy. Caitlin thought it would be close, and Randy thought that this was the most pivotal match of the year, and he hopes both teams have fun. But he did pick the Revolution along with Caitlin, Corey, and Evan. Alex, Jamin, and Jason, who says it will be close, all picked Chatham Hill. So that was a toss-up. Any other comments on that one?
Quick shout out to Aaron Holtby, who reached out. He wanted to thank me. He heard me pick them on the pod last week and appreciated my confidence. So good job, Aaron, and the rest of that team.
Awesome. All right. So next up, we got the J Park Wrenches at the North. I thought we were going to have 2 players from this match, one from each side, but somebody was double basketing.
Well, you all switcheroo up on them.
Yeah. Let's see. I got Corey, Jamin, Evan, Alex, Caitlin, Jason, and Randy all picked J Park. How's that feel, Jacob? What's up with that?
It feels very fair given just, a new team, even at home against a team on paper as strong as J Park. So I don't blame anybody, but yeah, it's fun, match after match, kind of seeing what is working with our teams, what pairings, doubles or not, putting people on the same card and singles, just kind of where the team camaraderie kind of shines best. It's been kind of fun to take a look at that and figure that out and bring that from match to match. So I'm optimistic for our future matches, but I guess no spoilers to how the result is, but
any truth to the rumor that next year your team name is going to be Jays and Joes?
Jays and Joes. It'll be Joes and Jacobs. We only have one J. I guess just J. Yeah, J
I was
names
thinking
in
Jacob and yeah. They start with J, but
we do have a lot of. I think we have 2 Johns as well. 2 Jacobs, 2 Johns, 4 Joes.
It looks like you're the first matchup on the board. Were you out first as far as were you a response to Jason Gorsage, or did they put out Jason first?
We put out me first, yeah. So we were actually coming into this matchup 1 down. We had somebody who kind of the night before got sick and we couldn't find anybody on a short notice. So we were playing 17, that's not math, 14-3. And so we ended up throwing first and threw myself. I feel like Joe and I tend to just kind of put ourselves out there first just to, get things started as an easy pick. We're both kind of middle of the pack as far as our team skill set goes. So.
And how did you feel going up against the Tower Power?
I felt okay about it. I definitely think it's a matchup I could fare well in. I don't think I had played with Jason ever before. We're talking about it and might have played once for like a tags match or something at Hickory. That's that ski slope course up in Warrensburg. I don't remember if we were on the same card or not. But anyway, so I, other than his rating and stuff, didn't know a ton about his skill set. I knew he was a fairly strong player though. But yeah, early on, I think I had an advantage, just kind of the number of times I've played that course there. I did find out he had played, or as did a lot of the J Park crew, came up on the day before and gave the course a try, at least a round or two, some of them. So that definitely, I think, helped swing things in their favor and kind of mitigate that home field advantage. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun playing with him. Starting off, we were pretty even, pretty back and forth. He had, let's see, on the very first hole, we were both kind of outside the circle, I think, for birdie. We both make bids at a putt and at 10 to 15. And he just, like, to my complete surprise, just from like maybe 10 to 12 feet from the basket, just like sends it like a foot over the top, which was kind of crazy. And so I actually got one on him to start, but that quickly went away. We kind of just, he was up one, I was up one. I think at most I was up at two at some point in the match. And then coming down the stretch, he evened it back up. I think we had 3 to play. We started on hole 3. So with the 3 to play, we had 18, 1, and 2. And hole 18 is a short. It's like only 130 feet or something like that, but it's an island and it has a very narrow and low ceiling. And he was on the box first. He missed it. And being, even with 3 to play, it felt like a really good opportunity to capitalize. But unfortunately, I couldn't. So there's a drop zone for that hole. We both made it up there fine off the drop zone. So stayed even with 2 to play. And then he was again on the box. He threw a light shank kind of through the trees on the right-hand side. So if you've not played there, hole 1, it's actually got this big like circular concrete section that we use. You can stand anywhere basically on that for your tee shot. So it's kind of different from a normal tee box. But anyways, and then there's maybe 100 feet to kind of a gap in a wood line that's fairly big. But for some reason, when you're not met with like, a tunnel from the tee, for me, that throws me off. But anyway, so he kind of shanked his a little bit in the right through the woods, but managed to get through cleanly for the most part. There's like a small path that kind of cuts off just short of the basket on the right. So he wasn't like in the thick of it or anything, but he still had, to scramble around a few trees or whatever. And so I saw this as a green light to try to go for it. I ended up going with a disc that was probably more understable than I really should have. Kind of shanked mine into a tree and it took a really gnarly kick. So I ended up, there's a small creek that runs by holes 1 and 4. And I was in it, but not, that's like the one OB on the course that's not marked by stakes. And we had said at the beginning of the day it was water, or in that day's case, surrounded by water, surrounded by ice, because a lot of it was frozen over. But I thankfully found this weird little section that was still kind of ground, even though it was sort of in the middle of where the creek was. So called it in, but it was still in such a bad spot that I ended up taking a bogey on that hole to his par. So then I was 1 back with 1 to play. Him again on the box for the last hole and throws a great shot. He's maybe, 10 feet out or so, maybe 15 at most. I step up. I also have a pretty good shot and I, just about park it a few feet away. And so get up there and hope he has a repeat of his hole 1 putt where he just kind of whiffs it out of nowhere, but he locked it down and ended the match 1 up on me, which having the lead at one point during the round was definitely a bummer, but I'm glad to have kept it so close with him because I know he's definitely a strong player. So yeah, fun card to play with. I was also playing with Chauncey Germain. He's on our card as well, and he's always a fun guy to play with. He's definitely a goofball and good at keeping spirits up during the round. So when we were trying to help each other kind of keep in it when things weren't quite going our way. He played against Alex Hellenic and they shot fairly evenly, but I think at one point Alex kind of took maybe like 3 up on Chauncey and sort of coasted on that. I think they were dormy with 3 to play. Chauncey took 1 back on hole 18, that island hole, because he managed to make it when Alex didn't. But then, fell on the next hole. So 2 pretty close matches for that first round.
Corey, have you never played this course?
No, I was planning, Jacob alluded to it, or he mentioned it, but my plan was to go up there Friday before the match and check it out, which a group of J Parkians did do. But once I decided I was not going to play it, I'm like, I guess I'm not going up there.
Was that a consideration, though? Even after you had decided to play double basket doubles, did you think, hey, maybe maybe I'll take the trip with these guys or no?
Yeah, I wanted to, but I think Friday was pretty cold too. I decided to just stay home and do some shit around the house.
That's fair. I mean, this is the time of year where I'll play disc golf, but there got to be a reason for it. I ain't playing a practice round unless it's practice for something.
Yeah.
Well, of course, for me, any practice is good practice, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Corey, you had a couple minutes here to look at the matchups. Were there any matchups that surprised you from the J Park side?
I think there was probably. I mean, Jason Gorsuch only winning one up to Jacob is that's a pretty solid match. I don't know a lot of the people on the North team.
Well, there's Joe, and there's Jacob and Jacob, and then Jay.
Yeah,
you don't know those guys?
Muccelli pushing Greg Hill. I thought was pretty interesting. I've never played the course, but Greg designed it. And Justin is typically known for his power, not quite his touch shot in wooded holes.
You mean Patreon member Justin Muccelli?
Oh, hey-o.
So yeah, we threw correspondent Joe Karen during that third set there and was matched with Chad, which is a fun one. Obviously didn't go too well in Joe's favor, but actually as we were doing matchups, we threw Joe and then they threw Chad, and then basically in response we were joking about how it would be funny if we threw all the Joes in a row, so we basically just ended up doing it.
4 Joes in a row.
So yeah, we had 2 Joe cards the first round.
So it's Joe Karen. Who's Joe R?
Joe R is Joe Riley. Yeah, and then Joe Pulsoni and Joe Panessa are 2 Joe P's. Yeah. Joe Riley, I don't know if he's played a ton of tournaments in the last year or so, at least like wider disc cap area, but he's definitely been playing a while. And yeah, I'm not sure if you all would know the other Joes, Pulsoni or Panessa, but they're much more local.
Jamin, was Joe Riley, did he do the putting league last year? Is that a name I'm remembering or no? Northway Brewing Putting League. Okay.
He plays in putting league. He's always been around doubles and stuff since courses kind of started coming in up here.
He definitely may have ended on the podium for like season stuff for last year's putting league. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, definitely top 10.
It wouldn't surprise me. The last teams to come in were, I want to say, one of the women's cards and then the Co-9s, so Eric and Cody C. So we were waiting around after the first round for those to come in, and yeah, I just wanted to give props to the women who swept all of their matches, and the Co-9s who kind of came in right at the last minute and had 2 wins themselves. I think they told me they were on that'd be the second to last hole and were one up with 2 to play, and both managed to birdie that second to last hole to kind of seal the deal at the same time. So they were excited about that.
So Amanda D, any relation?
Yeah, that's my name.
So Amanda Dunbar, Sarah W, and Ashley P all won. So they got you 12 to 5.5. It's a home match. This is your second week doing a spread?
Mm-hmm.
So how'd that go? Any changes? Any improvements?
Good. Not a ton of changes as far as the food goes. I think literally what Joe said to the team was just, you guys killed it. Let's just roll it back. So pretty much offered most of the same food. We had a few different players for this one, and so a few different options compared to the match against the Roses.
Did you have to leave and go get power cords or anything?
No, Joe brought his this time, and I also brought the spares or the ones that I had bought that day. So we had plenty to go around, thankfully. No scrambling that morning. Yeah, no, the spread was great. We had, hot breakfast again, bacon, sausage, and eggs and stuff. That was courtesy of Bree Strathenke. She shows up early and gets that going, well before most of the team's there. So kudos to her for putting that together. And then, tons of crock pots with, pulled pork and meatballs and little smokies and all that jazz. So
any Uncrustables?
No Uncrustables.
All right.
Points deducted.
I had thought about it for Corey, but I decided he didn't deserve them because
gotta show up.
It's also the whole allergy thing. Like, I'm never going to be the one to buy them myself, but
almost all of them have some form of peanut butter.
Yeah.
They're not Uncrustable brand, but there are like ham and cheese and like other zero crust freezer aisle sandwiches.
Not the same.
All right, I got to check those out then. That sounds very much up my alley.
We've talked a lot in the last few weeks about mixed pairs and such.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, your 3 women all won. What was the thinking going into round 2? They need 6 points, so they need 3 matches.
Yeah, so we originally had the thought of playing triple women against triple women might be the way to go. We felt like, given how round 1 ended up, that very likely that could be 3 points in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
However, we came to realize that, if we potentially split it up and did a doubles women's pairing and a mixed pairing, that's potentially 4 points, depending on where the matches are. It's a little more risky, just given that I think, the men across the board for J Park, ratings wise and stuff like that, when we were comparing them are quite a bit higher. And so, you start to lose that advantage with the women if you do a mixed pairing. So we briefly talked about it with Brian and Chad, and I think they actually wanted to do triple women's. And Joe and I decided that we didn't feel like that was the best for us.
Did they respond too well to the idea? Like, you're like, we were thinking about doing triple women, and they were all like, yeah, actually, you're right, we should.
No. When I was saying we were thinking about it, this was like Joe and I just talking to each other. And then we went to matchups and asked what they thought, and they said triple women's. And we had kind of, at that point, kind of realized that it probably wouldn't be the best for us. So, according to the rules, it's just kind of however it ends up getting thrown is what it is. So, going down, eventually, let's see, I believe they ended up throwing first then. I think that makes sense. And so they threw a mixed pair, which I guess that doesn't make sense then if they wanted to force that. Maybe I'm not remembering this at all correctly.
If you're going to do a mixed, was there any thought of you and your wife? Do you guys play well together? Do you complement each other's games or?
Yeah, I think we definitely do. It's something we thought about. It's something that even after the match, on Saturday, we're like, maybe you should just, have done that. But I think Amanda and Ashley have played together a few times, and we were thinking if, we were going to run a double women's pair, that they would be good and perhaps more of a guaranteed win for that pairing. But yeah, I think, a mixed pairing of Amanda and I is definitely something we've considered. It's sort of a weird thing of trying to come up with the perfect combination of, where possible, of based on who's there today, everyone's paired up with someone they are really buddy with and that kind of thing. And, Amanda and I are definitely the kind of people that we'll be happy sort of with whoever we'll play with, and we'll kind of make up, if there isn't a great pairing, we'll be the ones to we'll join whoever and have a good time. So
it's kind of one of the fun things about Team Challenge, where you can have an idea going in, but until you see who actually shows up and the actual numbers, a lot of things can change.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple close matchups here. So instead of playing with your wife, you play with another Jacob. So how'd that go?
Yeah, it went okay. Not obviously the result we were hoping for. Jacob and I had actually played together singles against the Roses. So we kind of had a little experience playing the course together, so I figured throwing us on a matchup together would be a good plan. I think in hindsight, we both are very right-hand, backhand throwers. And so, as far as skill set goes, we're not terribly varied. So it's tricky for some of the shots that really require that right, bending finish to it or whatever to have, some sort of forehand or whatnot. Lacking that, there's definitely a few holes that's really something you want to have in your bag at Albatross. And so even though, we both have good turnover shots and things like that, those holes weren't ones that we excelled at during the actual round. So that definitely brought us down. But it felt like we were doing okay initially, just kind of okay. We were paired against Brian Bickersmith and Kate Clay.
You were paired against 2024 MP40 Player of the Year, Brian Bickersmith, and 2024 FPO Hudson Valley Disc Golf Podcast Player of the Year, Caitlin Clay. So I mean, come on, that's a tough matchup.
That's true.
There's a lot of dollars on that match right there.
Mm-hmm.
Salary
for sure. Yeah, I actually hadn't been fully caught up on all the Hudson Valley stuff until we took our 11.5 or 12-hour drive from New York to Indiana on Sunday. So we listened to, the last 3 episodes or something we had missed. But yeah, so I mean, congrats to them. But at the time I was unaware. I mean, I knew that they were both very strong players regardless. But yeah, so they had a pretty strong start. It didn't feel like they were doing anything crazy, but we just didn't get off the tee very cleanly. And some of the first shots at Albatross are very, very birdieable if you can just kind of nail the, fairly straightforward shape of the holes. But I definitely was coming into the round kind of cold. I just didn't I didn't do any throws or warm up or anything like that over lunch. So started off, we kept, just getting pars, I think the first 3 holes or so, but they managed birdie for those 3. And so we are already kind of at a deficit. It's kind of one of those rounds that we were having some great shots or great putts, but a lot of them were just, which, you never know what in doubles, were to save par here and there. And so they kept kind of chipping away at birdies. We got a few ourselves, but ultimately wasn't going to be enough to keep up with them. Towards the end of the round, I was back of the box throwing, and I threw one of my favorite discs, which was a Proton Servo from the Circuit Challenge last year. And it clipped a tree. We all just kind of shanked our shots on this one hole, and almost all hit, around the same trees, kind of on this right-hand side of this downhill shot. And I ended up doing kind of one of those mistakes where you like look away for a second or wince like as it hits the tree, and sort of carelessly like didn't keep my eye on it. So I ended up losing a disc, and it's probably my favorite disc in my bag, and it's really important to me because it was one from the first tournament I ran. So that kind of like even more so didn't help morale kind of pushing through the end of the round there. Thankfully, Jamin recently gave me basically an identical copy of the disc, so I still have a backup.
And it was from the same tournament.
And from the same tournament, exactly. Yeah, it's basically the same exact disc, so I can't be too sad. But yeah, so they ended up, I think, tying hot round at 10 down, obviously excluding the 13 down from J Park's triples team. But yeah, so hard to keep up with that performance. 4 down there isn't definitely, is a fine score, but when you have people shooting that hot, it's tough to keep up. I will say too, Jacob had actually played, other Jacob, not me, had played with the 2 of them round 1. So it's kind of funny coming in, like, I don't know, they had been chatting all day. I almost felt like an outsider, even though, because they had been chatting all the first round too. And
all the in-jokes.
Yeah. We were joking about how we should have put Brian on a card with 2 Joes first round because he was on a card with 2 Jacobs second round, and then he could decide who he likes better or who wins, the Jacobs or the Joes of the North team. Yeah. Brian also, I will mention, had, I want to say like 2 or 3 chain hits off the tee. One was on hole 12, which is like 160 feet. Most people throw like a soft anhyzer, usually like a putter shot. You just kind of have to get around some trees in the middle and then have it just sort of straighten out. But there's a set of trees in the middle where any gap, if you go straight through it, is no more than, 2 feet wide. And Brian threw the shot off the tee that just like somehow just straight through the middle of all of those trees and splashed, I don't know, half the chains, but didn't stick. And then he also went on 17 and threw basically just a big anhyzer with a putter and caught a lot of chains too, but unfortunately didn't stick it either, trying to match Kyle Hirsch's ace. But yeah, so just kudos for him for having so many close calls. I wish I could have been there to witness a true ace, but they were killing it out there. Or he was definitely.
It looks like your women's pair won their match.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Jamin, but they're a first-year team, but they got a strong women team. That's pretty big in Team Challenge.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly helpful.
Yeah, they've definitely been some of our biggest point earners throughout the season so far. So been super glad that they've been enjoying playing and really crushing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, you got 5 of 6 possible points from your women. So that's impressive.
Yeah.
Looks like Colin and Joe Pulsoni and Jay and Joe C. So in doubles, I would say Joe's are better than Jacob's, but I'm just throwing it out there.
That's fair. That's fair. I do have a story a bit about Joe C's card. So just before halfway through the second round, Joe was in the card behind us and caught up to us at one point. And he comes over to me and he's holding his hand and like he's showing me, I thought he had something in his hand at first. He was showing me his actual hand. And it was just like super red and purple and just bruised. And it turned out he had just basically done every disc golfer's nightmare of taking a backhand throw and just getting the backswing right into a tree and caught his hand really, really hard. Said it hurt a lot, but he was like, determined to kind of play through it. Felt like he couldn't putt super well, but could throw okay. And so he started as, captain's privileges, got to start on hole 1. So they finish on 18, which is that island hole. And they were actually down by 1. I think the other team threw first. And so with that hole, you can kind of get a throw in, but the drop zone or whatever. It's like down the hill from the basket. So you're kind of throwing this uphill Anheuser shot to maybe try to scramble for a 3. And so neither of J Park's players were able to stick the island and ended up having to basically, run this putt. Whereas Joe, with an injured hand, he did manage to make the island and secure the birdie. So they actually swung that match in their favor on the very last hole. And then yesterday, he posted on Facebook, he actually went and got an x-ray and his hand is broken, or he has some broken bones in his hand. So,
oh my.
Yeah. So kind of, unfortunate that he's got that injury, but sort of a cool story is, that they managed to pull out the W regardless. There's a good chance we're going to be missing him on the roster for our match in January potentially. But
what? Shouldn't his hand be more healed than it was that day? He should feel better.
Yeah.
He played with it.
Well, hopefully. Yeah, but then he also went and played 13 more holes or whatever with a broken hand. So I don't know if he did more injury to it or not, but yeah, we'll see. Here's hoping he's able to play, but I'm sure he'll at least be around and, for matchups and all that stuff.
So they got you 12 to 5.5 with a penalty half point in round 1, and then 11.5 to 6 with another half penalty point in round 2. But I see a 51-49 and a 47-46. So if that flips the other way, it doesn't necessarily win you the match, but it might get you dubs. You know what I mean? And your first year, you're just looking for that kind of stuff, the small victory.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we very much fared better than I anticipated. Obviously the home field advantage comes into play a bit, but, I was expecting this might even be a harder match than playing against the Roses like we did in November. And so to have us come out, a little stronger, just kind of, gives me some hope for, the team sort of all improving together and getting the feel for, match play and team challenge in general and starting to really shine when we need it. So
final result, 23.5 to 11.5. Who do you got next?
Next, we are playing Stony Kill at Albatross. So they're coming to us.
Your last home match?
Our last home match. Yep. Oh. And then we have to wait a few months to go to Mine Kill.
Good times.
I don't want to jinx anything, but it turns out that there's 2 0-4 teams, and I was not expecting Stony Kill to be one of them.
And neither was Alex.
Yeah, I'm sure that's fair too. But seeing as they're coming to us, I think there's a potential for something to happen there. Just gonna say it, but we'll see.
Could you guys be the first year team to get a win? Has a first year team won before? Does anybody know?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Not including the original 6.
Yeah.
Or 8.
Burbine was not one of the original teams. And their first season, I think they made it to finals.
Oh, wow.
That sounds right.
I'm not 100% sure. I was talking to Randy a couple weeks ago, and it turns out our timelines for New York Team Challenge are fuzzy at best.
I blocked out a whole year, it turned out. We were talking about outcomes. I was like, no, I don't think I was there. COVID kind of ruined some stuff, but whatever.
Well, but it also started Team Challenge, so wasn't that the first year?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the year I forgot, yes.
Yeah. So we got one more match, and we might not get to a quiz, but that's okay. We got CPS at Tower Power, and we have Evan and Tim. I have a question for each of you guys before we get to your match. This is for everybody. Tim had a suggestion a few weeks back, and I haven't mentioned it. He wants to do a clip of the year for the podcast, and his suggestion is Randy with what was the dog?
The shepherd pie.
Yeah, the shepherd pie. He thinks that right now is the clip of the year.
Was I walk myself into that?
Yeah. Do we even suggest other clips, or is that our clip of the year? This is putting you on the spot, but I can't think of anything else.
I don't know if I've ever laughed as much as I did in this podcast, yelling at you that it's a shepherd as you're walking around German dogs. You're like, what? It's a German dog.
Yeah, Amanda and I absolutely had the same reaction. We're just like, how? Just yelling at the radio.
Wow, plot twist, Randy. You're actually the idiot here. It's not me. I'm just kidding.
I'm just throwing it out there. I'll actually do a post and I'll kind of say similar, this is what we think is clip of the year. Does anybody have any other suggestion? And we'll see if anybody else puts anything out there, but we'll see how that goes. Evan, I'm looking at the disc cap bag tag from 2023, it says Kevin Cranky has 77 rounds played in his tag matches. You have 82. Is that accurate?
The 82 comes with an asterisk because 3 of those are tag updates from when I had an inaccurate tag according to Disc Golf Scene. So if you subtract those 3 out, as of yesterday, I played my 79th tag match of the year.
Okay, so 79, unless my math is incorrect, is still higher than 77.
By a couple, yeah.
Cranky might have even had some corrections in his as well.
He didn't actually. I did go back and look.
He didn't?
He did not. He did not have any last year.
79 tag matches. Is that the all-time record?
I looked back as far as 2009, and that is the record.
Was there anything else higher than 77?
Nope. Kevin had 77. Before that, in 2022, Baker Smith had 69.
Nice.
2021, the high was 52, which was Corey Cook.
Hey.
2020, the high was 48, also Corey.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I had no idea.
2-time champ.
He did have back-to-back. Before that, I don't have all the names listed here on the spreadsheet I threw together, but in 2017, somebody had 68. Might have been Travis Bushore.
Oh, was that aces or tag rounds?
Probably had more aces.
So as far back as 2009 that I can tell, 79 is the current high. I'm shooting for 81 because I was born in 1981. I figure why not? There's a monthly coming up in Jenkinsville, and I'm sure I can squeeze at least one more in beyond that.
Who would you say you've played most of your tag round matches with?
I've played a lot of matches this year with Tim. Certainly a lot with Eric Struna, a bunch of the other guys from the Free Smoke Tour.
You're talking about one half of Camel Case Corey, Tim Goyette?
Yes, the same.
Oh, okay.
And what did you call it?
Free Smoke
My
Tour?
homies from the Free Smoke Tour. Shout out.
I think you said grease smoke, like you just out there like starting grease fires in the kitchen.
That sounds more like a Corey thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, Jamin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Eric Struna sponsored a hole at CTK maybe as the Free Smoke Tour.
13 blue, I think.
There you go.
Who's smoke?
So yeah, lots of matches this year. At Prospect Park was the highest with 16. Central Park I played 15, and then 9 at J Park and 8 at SPW, and then a bunch of other ones scattered around.
What's the furthest south?
Did a match at Minekill.
Is that south?
I was going to say that's not south. That's
that?
west.
Like Wilcox or?
I've never played
FDR?
Wilcox. That's on my major on my wish list. And we have a match there this year, so I guess I'll be going to Wilcox one way or the other.
Probably White Elephant's your further south.
White Elephant, Greenville.
Those are definitely more south than Minekill. Actually,
All right, there you
I don't know. I have a map in front of me.
All right, well, you can edit that out, Pat, so I don't sound dumb.
You saying you can edit that out so it don't sound dumb is probably the intro to the episode this week. So the Tower of Power visited, or no, you were at home, right? Against
we were home.
the Central Park Rosebuds. We had Alex, Jamin, Corey, Caitlin, Jason, and Randy, who says CPS over Tower of Power. I think CPS is going undefeated in the regular season. They all picked CPS, and Evan was the only player to pick Tower of Power. So between the two of you, who did picks, or did you share it, or how'd that go?
No, Evan does board during all of our matchups. It's his thing. No one touches it. No one gets near him. Otherwise, he gets a little sassy. So we let him have the board, and then I do picks. I kind of stolen a few things from a few different teams while we were playing last year of how to do our charts and our ratings and our matchups. So I have a whole little chart that I use, and then I just kind of go off of what we played them last year. If it's the same captain, like Dave was the same captain that we got matched up last year, who was our first matchup, and kind of just take things from them, watching how they throw matchups, how they do things. At the same time, trying to, like, our biggest thing is making sure we have cards that play well together, because we don't have the stud team. So I want to make sure that the two people that are on a card together have good vibes and can play well and can rely on each other to help pick each other up. So that's like one of the key things I'm trying to do. But yeah, so we started off, and I know that Dave, going into this match, looks at us as that he can, throw anybody. Like, he wants to make matchups that are as even as possible because he thinks his team is going to win that match. So that kind of plays in my head when I'm responding to his matchups. So like when he threw Anthony Bohanski, without throwing one of our top players, I really wanted to play someone that I knew plays up, because he has that dog in him. He wants to win that matchup. So Tim Martino, I know, is always that guy. So I knew that was going to be a good matchup for us. And then, Evan may have picked us to win, and he did everything he could to get that win for us going up against Cody. So It was I think when I went through it and we were doing it, there was only one surprise that I thought that Dave threw, and that was himself, actually, because he wanted to play with Cody. So that kind of threw me that I didn't think he would throw himself out as a matchup. I figured he'd save himself as a response. And this was an unscheduled, so we only had to bring 11 and 2. And I think we had 15 and 2 is what both teams brought.
Oh, so nobody sat or anything like that?
Well, they technically brought 15 and 4.
You're right. Yeah, they brought 15 and 4.
There was some juggling between rounds.
Yeah. And technically we brought 16 and 2 because Kevin played round 1 and then sat for double. So technically, yeah, we played 15 and 2, but each team had 18 people.
How'd your match go, Evan?
I had a good round. I had never played with Cody before. He said he had taken some time off, hadn't played disc golf in like 6 months. So I think on paper, he definitely had an advantage. But, maybe the time away helped me out. We went from the white tees and I just kind of try to keep it smooth and not make mistakes and take opportunities when I got them. So we went, I think I finished 4 and 3, but with a lot of pushes in the middle, not a lot of back and forth. So it was a great round playing with, I had Eric with me, and then Cody was playing with Dave, and they're old friends. He said they used to be Stony killers back in the day. So everybody was having a good time. It was a lot of fun.
Eric Struna, and that's Dave Hudson?
Correct. And when I say everybody had a lot of fun, Eric had a tough round there. He ran up against Dave. He had never met Dave, and somebody on CPS said to him, you're going to find out. It was a good time, but it was a tough round in terms of scoring there.
Dave's a nice guy, and I enjoyed playing with him the limited times I have, but he's very good at disc golf as well. So, yeah.
I guess he didn't realize how old Evan was either, so he was poking fun at him all around too about that.
No, there was a brief moment. It was fun.
Dave was poking fun of your age?
Well, when people think that I'm younger than I am, I take it as a compliment. But he and Eric discovered they were both 35, and Dave turned to me and said, "Oh, how old are you?" And I said, 43. And he said, "Wow, God bless." And it was just like, we kind of ran with that for a minute. It was fun, though.
So him and Mark Bryan won't be on the podcast till 2029. Making old jokes. Okay. I'm just making notes. Tim, what about your match? How'd that go?
I got matched up against Mike Guido, and I played on a sixsome with Willie Harrison against Tim Giardini and Dennis Daly against Ethan Hatter. So I had a really awesome card. Because it was a sixsome, we started off way out as far away from Tournament Central as possible and all the food. So we ended as far away from the food as possible. So that kind of sucked. But we started on 15, which is the longest white tee on the course. I had the box first, and I hadn't been playing very well. When Evan and I went out and played White Elephant on Sunday, I think my tee shots were as good as probably the first month I started playing disc golf. So I was a little nervous how this was going to go, but I stepped up to the tee on 15, and I don't know if I've ever put a disc that close to the basket. It probably hit 3 feet behind the basket and skipped a good 35 feet behind it. It was just dead on. It was a great shot. Unfortunately, that's about where all of my skill went. I could not hit a putt after that. I hit band on that putt. It kicked off about 18 feet, and then I got the yips real bad, and I missed what should have been a push off the first hole. I missed a 15-footer off to the right. Gave Mike an easy one there. And then going on to the next one, and again, I had an opportunity to get one with probably a 35-foot putt, and I just missed right again and gave him another point. So I was down 2 going into the third hole. One thing I will say about the other matches is on hole 16, Ethan hits a tree off the tee, hits another tree on his approach shot, and has probably a 55, 60-foot putt. And Dennis is getting all excited because he's going to go up 2 right off the bat on Ethan. And Ethan drills probably a 60-foot stepper. There was no doubt about it out of his hand. It was a straight bullet right to the post. It was one of the nicest steppers I've ever seen. So that kind of got Ethan back into it. But I, unfortunately, even when I had the opportunities, Mike would come up with a nice putt on 17. I had a 2-foot tap in, and he was down the hill a little bit, probably 30 feet, and he nailed that. So that took away my opportunity to get another point back. As it went on, I kind of got back into it a little bit. I think I got down to 1 down at one point, but Mike kept giving me good opportunities to come back and take the lead, and I just couldn't do it. We got down to we were probably on hole 10, so I think we had 5 left, and I was 3 down with 5 left, and my putt had been absolutely terrible all day long. And both Mike and I hit an early tree off the tee. I shoot off to the right, he shoots off to the left, and his upshot goes deep, probably 35 feet into the trees on the right-hand side. So I had to put a little upshot. I was a little short. I hit a branch and probably knocked it down to like 28 feet. And I finally nail a putt right down the middle, and it just spits out. It hit dead center, all the chains, and it just caught the top of the cage on the way down and hit the ground. I kind of knew it at that point that was it. But when we were on hole 12 and I was dormy, 3 down with 3 to go, and I step up and I lace this shot. I probably put it to 6 inches to the pin. It was probably one of the best shots I had all day. Mike throws up his shot, goes long, probably like 35 feet behind a tree. And I'm like, okay, this is not over yet. I'll get the next one. And out of nowhere, you just see this like sky hyzer crashing in, and it just catches the back of the cage and goes in from Mike's putt. And that was it for me. Really just ended it. It was really, for having such a nice drive, it was like a 6-inch tap in. It was a pretty crappy way to end it. But for the other two, with Willie and Tim, this is one that when we were going through matchups, I realized as we were going down the list that Dave was saving Tim and Ethan for just the tops because he wanted to have the best against the best, I guess, is what he was looking for, is to try to prove that, I mean, any matchup with Tim Dargini is going to be tough. But I feel like if you give Willie Harrison a putter on those white tees at SPW, I feel like he can beat almost anybody. And he was just lacing the fairways, giving himself, 15, 20-foot putts all day. And then on hole 13, which is one of the few holes that has OB, Tim Giardini gets up. I'm trying to think. He probably puts himself probably about 70 feet out, and Willie's about 90 feet out. Willie throws it, and on this hole, there's a creek behind the basket. The basket's real close to this little creek, and the creek is OB. But there's a giant root of the tree that pops up over the top. So Willie throws his, I think he hits a little low, his upshot, and it skips, and it goes over the root, which looks like it goes out of bounds. So Tim throws his upshot to 10 feet or so. We get up there, Tim's putting, and he just kind of throws it casually and cages it and misses the putt. We get over there, and he thought Willie's putter went OB. It caught the root and just was hiding under the other side of the root. So Willie was not OB, ends up winning that hole, and is now up 1 with 1 hole to go. And then on that hole, Tim hits a tree early. Willie ends up winning it and wins 2-0. So it was an unfortunate, casual mistake that Tim made. But it also, at the same time, everybody on the card thought Willie's putter flopped out of bounds. So, and then for Dennis, I don't know if anybody's played with Dennis before.
What's Dennis's last name?
Dennis Daly, Double D.
Double D.
Yep.
Double D. There's a movement in Discap that's a fuck Dennis movement, because he's one of the luckiest people that you ever play with.
I forgot about those.
You'll see it on some people's bags. It's a patch that's going around. Dennis caught so many trees that just kicked him either back to the fairway or as close to the pin as possible. At one point, I think I don't know if he was up 5 or up 4. I think he had a putt for 20 feet that would have put him up 5 on Ethan. And every time, he shanked a shot, and it would just kind of find the mysterious fairway that doesn't exist, and it would hit a tiny tree and he'd fall back into the fairway. I mean, he played well, but there were a lot of shots where everybody's like, they were just kind of like, fuck Dennis. But it was funny, but then Ethan kind of started picking up, because I think he was down 4 at one point. He was able to push it to 2-1, but Dennis played really well and got it done with some good putts. So it was a good card, a lot of fun. I wish my putt was better, but it was a lot of fun to watch the other two guys get good wins on that card.
Well, between your 2 cards, you're up 3-2.
Yeah, not how the rest of everybody went.
Well, are there any other matchups that you want to point out?
I mean, the other half of my Camel Case Corey played very well and beat Dougie Fresh.
Doug Ionen?
That's solid.
Beat him 4-2. Actually, the other matchup I thought was a fun one was Nick Alcatraz versus Jeremy Florida Man Million.
Forehand Florida Man Million.
Both of them are strong forehand players, so I thought that was a fun matchup.
Both of them are also strong shit talkers. And according to James Black, he said not a single putt that round was made in silence. It was just nonstop. And those two guys know each other, and, that's just how they roll. But I can only imagine what kind of card that was.
This is one of the matches that was definitely watching or waiting to see results come in while we were down at FDR, because Bohanski and Martino pushing is interesting. Evan beating Cody Metis is interesting. Right, that's who it was, Cody M.
Yeah, Cody Metis.
Yeah.
Willie Harrison beating Tim Giardini 2-up. Yeah, Dennis beating Ethan 2-1. Solid matches right there.
It was an improvement against how we did last year when we went to Central Park for sure.
Yeah, with 1.5 points.
I know Kyle was a little worried that maybe he, screwed his team
No, he
by
wasn't.
not showing
It's
up.
all right. Well, he missed out on Uncrustables. So,
what was the deal with the cake? The strawberry upside down cake or some shit?
The one thing you need to get if you ever come to an SPW match is Evan's strawberry cake. So Mike Schwartz came and took 3 pieces home and ate 2 while he was there. I think Lisa brought him home a few pieces during this match. It's either you got to hit Evan's blue cheese and you got to hit Evan's cake. It's
Which Evan?
Oh, the parsley.
Oh, okay. Because I see Evan L, so I didn't know. I wanted to make sure the right Evan got credit.
The leprechaun.
I did put the picture up for Mike Schwartz because, as Tim said, in October, he asked me if he could take some home, which of course, yes. And then Saturday, Lisa came up and said, "Can I take some cake home for Mike?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. Please help yourself. I'm glad he enjoys it."
Yeah.
What's the secret?
It's upside down.
Fresh strawberries and a potato masher. And it's a really easy recipe I found online. If anybody wants it, just hit me up.
Is there any kind of 2-stroke something involved?
Yeah, can we replace that that masher with more of a blender that runs on combustible materials?
Let's go. I'm down, Corey. I'll bring this. I'll get the grocery shop and come over to your place, and we'll make a cake. What do you think?
Oh, frig yeah!
All right, I'm down.
So the night before, Tim Martino, I guess, didn't get out of work on time, couldn't get out and get food to make anything because he was supposed to bring a stew. So that morning, he pulled up to a McDonald's and ordered 40 Egg McMuffins.
Oh, shit.
And showed up with just 3 bags of like McGriddles, McMuffins, everything for everybody. And that was a huge hit. Everybody was grabbing one before they left for their round, and they were coming back. There were a few left after lunch. But yeah, that was a big hit for everybody. That was pretty funny. I guess he pulled up to the drive-thru and said, "You guys are going to hate me, but can I get 40 of those?"
And they're like, "Oh, we were about to pull 30 out of the microwave anyways."
That means they have to do 30 more for the next bunch of people. So,
Right.
yeah. So the Central Park Rosebuds, who beat Mindkill at home, are only up 10.5 to 6.5 going into the second round. What's the thoughts in the matchups?
I'll let Tim speak on this, but I was wondering if we did a triples card, what did we say? We needed 11 points to win.
Yeah, we needed 5 matches.
So if we had trips card and we won 3 points, then we would need 4 more doubles matches. But I'll let Tim talk about matchups because, again, I was only secretary.
I mean, I don't really know if we really want to talk about the rest of the match. But
It happened.
Yeah, we had this whole conversation at lunch about what was the best setup. Did we want to go with a singles? Did we want to go with triples? Were we thinking about throwing mixed cards? And we kind of had this discussion that depending on what Dave threw out ahead of our opportunity to throw a triples is what would drive us to if we were going to do a triples or not. Because it's one thing to throw a triples team that we think is one of our highest score because we wanted all those 3 points. So we'd make it, 2 strong players and maybe take one of our middle players on there and make, kind of take 2 strong players out of the other teams. If we didn't wait to see how Dave put his teams together, he might just take 2 or 3 of his best players and just negate that 3 points completely. So that was one thing that we were kind of thinking about, wanted to see how he would play it. And of course, he just throws his doubles ladies card and then puts the pressure back on us on what we want to do because, we respond with that. And then it's our choice. Are we throwing triples? Are we going to throw a single? Or are we going to go into a normal doubles match? And one thing is the killer ease of Evan and Eric. That's one of our teams that, they play very well together. We wanted to keep that together. I figured I'd get that off the plate first and see what Dave would throw then. And Dave wanted to run it back on both of them and play Dave and Cody together against Evan. So apparently he had a fun time on the front card playing with an old man.
I have some insight on that as well. There are 2 main reasons Dave wanted that match. One, he wanted to give Cody a shot at revenge for losing to me in the first round. And he knew that we would start on hole 1 if he played with me. And I'm sure also he knew that the way the day had been going, he wouldn't really have much trouble with Eric and I, probably by himself. So we did have a good time and we got smoked.
Yeah. So we kind of went through that. So we were looking at how they would respond. And then after a few cards went, we realized that a triples probably wasn't going to make the most sense with what was left because There were a lot of, like, with Justin Fry, I don't even know, and Ethan Hatter's out there, Nick Cardone. There was a bunch of strong players that were still available that probably would be tough for our triples team to take down. So we played it out, just going straight doubles. We went with Camel Case Corey. We put Nick Alcatraz and Dennis Daly together, which is a classic team that we have. But unfortunately, not to spoil any rounds or anything, none of our teams could beat any of their lowest scores. So we got goosed.
I think it's skunked.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely goosed now.
Thank you, Tim.
It's 100% goosed now.
Moving forward, it's goosed, we think.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fair. But, I mean, I see a 53-52. I see a 53-54. I see a 55-55 with a 2-hole playoff, 52-54. So it's not like it was a total.
No, it wasn't. But a lot of these teams play this course a lot. And, like, I can speak for myself with Brian, 2 down for us. We were 2 down through 2 holes. So playing 2 down was not a round that we felt very good about, especially when we were usually shooting like a 5 or a 6 at a minimum. And I know a lot of these teams too felt the same way. So the scores were close, but I just feel like most of the teams came back feeling pretty bad about their rounds. But yeah, I think we played very well and we were pretty excited after the first round. And then I don't know if it was the cold. Actually, it warmed up and got a little muddy, so maybe that was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Your conditions got too good.
Yeah, they got too nice for us. We were better with the ice when you'd throw a spike hyzer on hole 4 and it would skip 35 feet away from the basket.
I only played there once, but it's kind of water. You don't want mud.
No, but the day that was nice. It worked out that it warmed up pretty well and it was a pretty nice day out.
So you played whites round 1. What did you play round 2, did you say?
Blues. We played blues for the second round. Yep.
Have you played the Brewski layout at all?
Not this year, no. Kevin is in charge of all that, and he's gone to just straight blues. I think he had a little pressure from some of the team, and everybody wanted to play some of those holes. So actually, that will be the highlight of my doubles round, is on hole 4. I almost cleared the Tower of Power on my own, which is a goal I've been working for a long time, playing that course.
You almost got it around Jason Gorsuch?
Yeah, almost got around Jason Gorsuch. He was blocking the hole 4 there for me, and I almost got around him. So
that's impressive.
Yeah.
So 17-0 in round 2, which made it 27.5 to 6.5. And who do you guys have next?
Burbine, at Burbine.
What's their record?
They're 1-3, right? Yes.
Corey, who do you guys play next?
I believe we play Mindkill at home. I think that's our next match.
Jamin, does that sound right?
I have no idea.
That is right.
Yeah, Mindkill at J Park.
And that is the 11th? Does that sound right?
January 11th, Yep.
This is what I have as far as New York Team Challenge picks, the standings so far. I haven't gotten everybody's picks on everything. Jacob, 1-1, because I only had you pick the week that 2 teams played. Evan is at 5-3. Alex, 9-5. Caitlin Clay, 9-3. Jason's at 10-2 because I didn't get him to pick the week Jacob picked 1-1. Randy, 12-2. Jamin is also 12-2. Corey, I have at 14-0.
I've been picking ruthlessly. I'm not here to make friends with my picks. I know who's winning, who's losing. I'm not trying to sugarcoat nothing.
I could have done a better job of getting other people's picks. Could have got Jason's that 1 week, but he still has 2 losses. So right now it doesn't matter because Corey's on 0 losses, which, I mean, it's like the reverse of last year.
I took a lot of losses last year. Yeah, I've been trying to change that.
I can take credit for some of that.
Yeah, fuck it. I can't believe it. You want to talk about actual assholes? Here we go. Here's one right here.
It was the best round I've ever played in my life, so I don't know what to tell you.
He beat you last year?
Yeah, at J Park.
At J Park, yeah.
At J Park, wow.
Yeah. I think I was up 4 at one point.
Yeah, it wasn't good. For me, I mean.
Yeah. And the first 2 holes, I don't think I got off the tee more than 10 feet.
It was an awkward walk back to the pavilion, for sure.
It was pretty awesome for me.
Tim came back a little bit taller.
Just a couple of quick notes. I got to respond to Brandon Klein, who was talking about how I pronounce Japanese words, seeing how my dad and I are both Japanese. 1, your name's Brandon. How Japanese is that? I can't argue, but I don't know if I can take Japanese pronunciation advice from a guy named Brandon. So,
What were you pronouncing in Japanese? Death names?
Sakura.
Sakura.
Yeah, talking about the cherry blossom.
Oh, yeah.
He was like a main character in Naruto, which you probably didn't watch. That would have helped you.
It's also a folk song, Sakura.
How do you pronounce it, Randy?
Oh, I pronounce it like I'm yelling in an anime show.
Sakura! Randy.
Sakura.
Stick your hands out and you say it too, like you're blocking.
Yeah, I'm running with my hands behind me. Exactly.
that cat comes home from work. Randy, I'm home, and you just running around with headphones on, screaming Sakura.
I saw some posts about eliminating a jump putt or step putt inside 20 meters. Is that an actual thing, or is that just internet talk?
That conversation has been going on longer since any of us have been playing, but
Yeah, I think it was a recent YouTube thumbnail clickbait type thing that got a little traction because I heard about it too.
But we already saw what rules were going to be potentially implemented next year, so that's not one of them, right?
yeah, I think Justin Muccelli brought it up in the Disc Captains chat, and he cited Doug Bjerkes as the guy who brought it up this time. And I think he does work for the PDGA on some level, so there might be something to it, but that's just like one of those things where I'll believe it when I see it.
Isn't he the CEO now or whatever? The president?
Could be.
Yeah, I think he is.
Didn't you vote for him?
It's a good chance.
I think, I don't know.
The other topic I had, and I think it's kind of past, the C-Pool final. What's going on with that, Jamin?
C-Pool Finals.
I know there's been a lot of drama on the Facey Spaces, but nothing's going to change, right? It's basically set.
Nothing's going to change. I think the only thing that I've learned from the New England Team Challenge groups in the past couple weeks is that the main players are just giant babies.
Did you see that one comment, Jamin, where someone was like, main people are as soft as their pars?
Yes, I did.
Like that.
And then you immediately had to be like, I'm just kidding.
That's pretty funny, though.
Yeah. But no matter, I remember being talking about aside, that's a funny joke.
Oh, yeah.
The thing I saw as evidence was that people sign a document and that says that your final will be on this date.
Yep.
How in stone is that?
Apparently not that in stone. My problem with it was the rollout with it. That's kind of, in the last few years, one of the issues with New England Team Challenge is there's just not really like centralized cohesive leadership there. Just like New York, there's like a overarching commissioner, but then there's a commissioner for each pool. So there's one guy who is the head of everything, and then every pool has their own person. It results in everything being done just kind of funny and, not super well. Everything's haphazard. My problem with the rollout of this vote was that it wasn't like a concerted effort and it wasn't brought to everybody's attention at the same time. Each pool handled it individually. So like I found out about it after it had already been voted on.
Basically, you didn't have the votes. Your vote didn't matter at that point.
It didn't, yeah. But Jeff had already voted in the interest of New York Team Challenge. The vote in our pool was 6-2. Some people are saying 5-2. I'm pretty sure it was 6-2. Yeah, so Maine and Disc Captains both voted to keep it the same, and everybody else voted against that. But it all happened in like 3 hours. Like it was like, hey, this is the thing. We're going to vote on it. Here's the vote. All right, the vote's done. Thank you very much. We're moving it. And like that is not really an acceptable way to do it. There wasn't a chance for captains to really weigh in on it. I'm going to throw them under the bus a little bit because I think it's kind of shitty. One of the captains specifically mentioned that, I'm fine keeping it the way it is. It would be a bummer to miss it, but I'm happy that we're moving it because it's my daughter's birthday. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not in the spirit of why the vote was made.
Yeah, and I'm not insinuating that he made that vote for that reason, but it sure looks like it. But I don't know. I think that just the way that they did it was very frustrating. Since ours happened so fast, I reached out to Alex and Kat and I asked them, I said, hey, what's happening on your end regarding finals? And Alex's response was, well, we were still trying to find a course. Like they didn't even know it was coming yet. Our pool had completely voted on it and it was finalized, and D pool hadn't even been informed about it yet.
So it was just bad communication.
Yeah, it's just there's, a million little knock-on effects of it. Like it doesn't make any sense the way that we chose finals locations now. Not that it actually impacts anything, but like if C-Pool had ruled out a course that was already used, we didn't have to rule it out because now our finals is on a different date.
Is finals set the same date for every A, B, C, D, E?
Yeah, it's always the second Saturday in April. It's been that way for a long time.
So it's like voting. Like the first Tuesday in November kind of
Exactly. That's why New York Team Challenge Finals is the first Saturday, just to get around that.
Because they know, to avoid it.
Yep.
And I guess the same thing with Maine.
Yep.
That seemed to be another lame argument. Well, why does these other states supersede? It's like, no, because they went out of their way to avoid scheduling with New England. Okay. Does anybody have anything else before we go?
Monthly Sunday.
Saturday
is what I meant to say.
Yep. It's Saturday. Check-in starts at 10. We're bringing back the disc exchange or disc swap that we did last year. If you show up with a wrapped premium unthrown disc, premium plastic, then you get one free mulligan on your round, but you have to use the disc that you swapped for. And then also we're collecting discs for the Queensbury Parks and Recreation Department so they can do clinics and beginners events and that kind of stuff. And if you show up with beginner-friendly disc in any shape, sometimes the really beat-up ones are the best for beginners. You will also get a mulligan that you get to use your own disc for.
So what you're saying, Jamin, is if I show up with a premium bullfrog and nobody wants it, I don't get a mulligan?
They're all wrapped up, so everybody who brings a disc throws them in a pile, and then you pick them out, unwrap them.
Oh, so I can sucker somebody into taking the bullfrog. Oh, okay.
The only problem with that is they don't make bullfrogs in premium plastic.
It's like a pig. They keep it in that base plastic.
Oh, because they're smart.
Yeah, well, the real
gotcha.
problem with the bullfrogs is they made one run of them 15 years ago, and they're still selling them.
I get them deals, though, them closeout deals.
But yeah, besides that, everybody should go to Beans on the way there and get an egg sandwich because that place is magical.
And on the way home.
Yep. That's when you get the pastries.
The first time I went up there to play in Glens Falls, I went there for breakfast, and my friend got into like almost screaming match with the woman behind the counter because of how rude she was.
Really?
I couldn't believe. I'm sitting there, they were just going back and forth at each other. I'm like, what are you doing? They're gonna do something to our food. Yeah, got into a straight screaming match where the food was fantastic, but yeah. I had to leave with like my head down, like I wasn't there.
Well, this was Beans Country Store? Okay.
Yeah,
interesting. I've never heard that about Beans.
He must have said something because I didn't think that was her normal. No, the food was great. Yeah, it was a very interesting experience.
So wait, there's two places that are like called Beans. There's Cool Beans, and then there's Beans Country Store. This was like over by Jenkinsville, a mile away.
Oh, maybe it was Cool Beans. Maybe that's what
more
I'm
like not
of.
some Cool
Was
Beans.
it the one by the
I was going to
Hannaford?
say not very cool beans.
Well, there's several Cool Beans. There's like one right across the road from a Hannaford.
Wait, let me look up to see which. Where is this one? Yeah, this is the one we went to. Where is this?
Were you playing at Crandall?
Yeah, I was playing.
And then heading
Crandall.
back to 87?
Yeah.
You might have hit
Yep.
the one right by Hannaford there.
Okay, that's what it was then. Yep. Yeah, screaming match. It was very.
Oh, that's
awkward.
Cool Beans. They suck.
Yep. Okay.
I'm
cool.
just kidding. I like Cool Beans also, but since we've been talking coffee, their problem is they only have one coffee grinder and they have a lot of different flavored coffees. So all of their coffee just kind of tastes flavored.
Ooh, yeah, that's no good.
Yeah. No bueno.
Good white mochas, though. But anyway, sorry. That's a huge digression.
No, we love digressions, James.
I'm looking forward to the Jamin podcast on all the coffee offerings. And
We know if you want Stewart's, go before noon. That's what we've learned so far.
I got coffee the other day afternoon and I almost took a picture of it and sent it to you. Like, this is what you're not looking for. It's just like, it's a different shade of brown. I don't know how to describe it.
Tim, you got anything before we go?
No, I'm good.
Evan?
Nope. Thanks for having me back.
I just want to make sure. Jacob, was there anything you wanted to talk about before we go?
I just refreshed the Ice Bowl page, and I'm sure it'll be full by Friday, but there's only 6 slots left, so 3 teams.
Oh, wow.
Almost filled up already, but no, nothing on a personal note.
Thank you, Tim, Evan, Jacob, Corey, Randy, Jamin, Jason, and happy birthday, Kathleen Bemis.
Oh.
Sweet up, Hudson Valley.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Pat.
Pat.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, everybody.
Is it Kat's birthday today, Randy?
It is.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, there was like an inch, maybe an inch and a half. It was nothing crazy.
I almost completely busted my ass yesterday with like the snow that first came down was at the sake, the potential for sounding really stupid, it seemed really extra slippery. So last night when I was going out to get wood from the woodshed, I stepped down off my steps onto like a slanted area that normally has no problem in my sneakers, and both shoes just. That was going to crack my head.
You hate
Yeah, you do.
There's a bunch of stuff I wanted to go over before we get to team challenge and double. I did want to go over some double basket doubles. So if Jason gets on, that'd be great. If not, Corey and Jamin played, right? Or no, did Jamin not play?
I did.
Oh,
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Jamin's too loyal to his team. He's not going to pull Corey on that.
His team didn't even play.
Oh,
yeah. That's how. That's why Jason played.
Gotcha.
Nice try.
Yeah.
Well, what's your excuse, Corey?
I asked for permission. I gave like a 2-week notice. I asked early.
Your PTO was approved.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I won't go too far into it, I guess. But we were playing the North on paper. Shouldn't have really needed me. So Friday night, I learned that
no offense,
they were
Jacob.
coming. They were coming with short people, anyways. Oh wait, Jacob is here. Yeah, I forgot. I'm not used to it. I wasn't looking at the screen.
I only take a little offense because I did actually get a pack of PBR to bring just for you, and you didn't bother to show.
Well, damn, that's something like a miscommunication between captains. I'm assuming that Brian would have gave you our roster the night before.
Well, depends.
Oh, he did. Yeah, I picked it up a few days in advance, but
listen, there's only one Corey on our team, so if I was missing. You guys got like 12 Joes, so
true.
But yeah, so then I heard that you guys were going to be short people anyways. I'm like, oh, so in the end, I did my part by picking another event to go to.
Well, I'm sure Kyle got off the same way that you got off your team. That he was playing us.
Yeah, but you guys have a better record. That was going to be a tougher match.
No, he's just trying to throw Kyle under the bus.
Yeah, right. That's
spoilers.
He's on CPS.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Rosebuds.
He's a rosebud, as we learned, not a rose.
Can we talk about that real quick?
What's that?
Yeah, it should be rose and stems.
I like to lay out the board the night before with just the other team's name, erase the previous match, get it clean and ready. And I was like, I can't remember. Is it roses or rosebuds? So I went on to the league spreadsheet and saw the team rosters, and it said CPS Roses or Central Park Roses. So that's what I wrote. And I was a friendly correction from Dave and James morning of. He said that we're actually the Rosebuds. And I said, well, not according to the league spreadsheet. And James pointed at his chest and said, according to my hoodie, we're the Rosebuds. Fair enough. So then I fixed it.
I guess a spreadsheet can be updated as a hoodie,
Evan got very possessive of his board on Saturday.
Don't touch my board. That's all I'm asking. Just don't touch it. You want to change something? Let me know. I got you.
Yep.
It is kind of funny though. They went from being the syringes, which alludes to dirty needles, but then they changed to the roses. Or you said they switched to the rosebuds? Well, it's something to roses.
It's rosebuds this year.
Pretty sure little mini roses are what people buy at the corner store for fucking crack pipes. So they didn't really get too far away from what they were trying to distance themselves.
Corey, I'm going to take your word for that one.
And buds.
Yeah, buds.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, they were going to be the Freedom Walkers, right? Isn't that what they were?
The Freedom Walker. I forgot about that. Shout out to the Central Park Freedom Walkers.
For real.
What's that in reference to?
Oh, man.
When they're going through the course redesign, I guess there was some divide between what they were trying to do for the disc golf course and some walking group maybe that felt that the tee pads that they were putting in hindered their walking abilities. So they were
leaving notes that were
notes and kind of destroying the tee pads.
There may have been a manifesto.
Yeah, there was a manifesto. It was like a page and a half long that they left on and then they put a trail cam up to watch who was doing it. It became a whole thing.
It was a big deal on Facebook a while ago.
Kenji handled it well.
If you were there, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But we'll give Jamin a couple more minutes. If not, we can go ahead and start because the first couple things I wanted to talk about were a few random tidbits. But then, of course, I'll have to edit the intro I just wrote. So I'm going to try to give him a couple minutes.
Is this what it feels like to be doing matchups against Jamin and watching him pull apart?
Quite possibly.
Corey, I don't have any specific plans, but I might make more fun of you about bailing on your team. That might be the
That's
theme.
cool. Yeah.
But I don't.
Content.
Yeah.
I've got one for you too during my recap.
Nice. Okay. I asked for it. I mean, Brian has already. I think he made 2 jokes today at work just about what my repercussions are for missing the match. I couldn't remember what they were, but there was definitely something there.
Well, I mean, they won, so there's no real repercussions, right?
There could be some type of punishment on a go-forward basis.
Hostile work environment.
Yeah. Straight to HR.
I know you guys work the same place. How closely do you work together?
I could definitely jump putt to his, from my spot to his. No.
What a reference. I love that.
Yeah. That could be anywhere between 33 and 120 feet.
Soon to be 60 feet or something like that, right?
Yeah, they discussing it. Like, we'll see what happens. I think I mentioned it before when we talked about, like, it just moves the goalposts. Like, people complain about jump putting from 34 feet, and then next thing you know, they'll say they'll start complaining about step putting and jump putting from 67 feet. It doesn't really change anything. You're still going to have, like, people like, oh, well, did the disc leave his hand by the time he touched the ground? Yeah, so I don't really get it, but I mean, I kind of do, but putting has gotten easier over the years, over the decades, it seems.
I wish that was true.
Yeah, who would have thought it? Just like the people that are saying it got easier, the people that have been doing it since the 80s.
Right.
Tim, you were making it look easy tonight.
Yeah, I was on fire tonight. I wish I was on fire on Saturday.
Oh, did you guys go?
Yeah, I went to putting league.
We got the early bird special.
Yeah, we get there at 5 and get in and get out.
I think I went once last year, and I did the same thing. And like, I got there right when Randy was finished and setting up. I got my one beer, played through, hung out for a couple minutes.
Yep, that's exactly what we do. Anyone signing up for Ice Bowl?
Not this year.
Yeah, it just opened.
When
That's
is that?
doubles, right?
February 15th.
Oh, okay. Still ways away. Is that played at the
J Park.
same course?
Yep,
J
J
Park.
Park every year.
Gotcha. I'm usually like a fair weather golfer, and I kind of forced myself to not be this year and signing up for Team Challenge and all that. So I feel like last year I'd have said no, but maybe I'll go for it this year.
What
I
else
do
are
like
you gonna
doubles
do?
events, so right, yeah.
I mean, I'm now trying to figure out if I can do the ice bowl because I have for the past few years. What is the easiest way to search disc golf scene for this ice bowl? Because there's 1,000 ice bowls.
Trick question. There is no easy way to search disc golf scene for anything.
Yeah, I had to go to Facebook and pull from Jeff's post because I could not find it on Disc Golf Scene.
I'm like, I think I'm just going to sign up and like figure it out.
Oh my gosh, it's already half full.
Later.
Did you find it, Randy?
Oh no, but it'll now that I know just to go to Discap, I think it'll be
I
that.
just said
Oh
it.
my gosh.
I just sent a link, Randy.
I find it funny. Jamin was having
38
computer
of
problems, but had no
72.
problem signing up for that tournament.
It's almost like it takes two people to play in the tournament or something. Yeah, that was all Tim. In fact, I wasn't even like 100% sure I was playing, and then Tim was like, "Hey, you want me to sign us up?"
You're like, "Yes."
Basically, yeah.
If your computer works, go for it.
Oh, my computer was not doing jack shit. I've literally been trying to get on since 7:30.
Is that because the computer was making a noise connected?
But it might as well have been, man. It's like it took a solid 5 minutes for it even to register that I was trying to turn it on.
Then I had to go through
No
Windows
updates, but just like the last half hour has just been the desktop is on, everything's moving. Like I turn on Chrome and then just try to load a Facebook tab and it wouldn't do anything. It was like infuriating.
Yep, it'd be like that.
It'd be like that when you don't buy a new computer for 8 years.